Today I'm going to show you the project I have been working on. It's called AI Agent. So what I did on this project is help improve or store uh, knowledge to my vector database so that my LLM is going to return or a result that's highly appropriate for the question. So the main goal of this project is to uh, embed the code base that I have so that users can query any types of questions they have to the code base, and my LLM is going to return a value that's knowledgeable. So one problem LLMs have is they are trained on limited data set and they have information up to the date they have been trained on. So an LLM that has been trained up until 2020 will not have a knowledge up until 2024. It doesn't have the context, so it will hallucinate. If you ask them question, if you ask any kind of questions to the LLM, it's going to return a result that's highly likely, but the LLM is hallucinating. It's not returning the real value because it doesn't have data. So to reduce hallucination and to reduce hallucination, we have to give context to our LLM about certain topics. This can range from private organization informations to uh, different files, images, maybe a code base. For now, I'm working on code base, and in this code base, first, uh, there are processes that I followed in order to store value to my vector database. So, and so here is in simple terms how it works. I'm going to store my code base into a vector database. There are processes I will use to convert my code base uh, into vector values and store those vector values into a vector database. I will go in detail with that, but before that, for the highlights, whenever a user queries for certain information, I'm going to use the query and I'm going to convert the query into a vector data, and I'll use that vector data to search through my vector database similar values. Those values can be the top three, the top five values, and I'm going to give the context that's highly related to the user's query and give the user's query plus the content that is highly related with the user's query, and give this that will be my context, and I will give those contexts to the LLM. So using that context, my LLM is going to understand how this thing works and return me with value. So that's the whole part of it in short. So the process I took to convert vector my core base into vector data and store it in the vector database is, first I will iterate through the files, and I will have a list of um, files that I consider them as unnecessary. So I will store them as blacklist so that I can skip them, and I will have a list of values that I store them as whitelist that I will try to read and parse those values. So I used tree-seater, and that tree-seater is helpful for storing the value. And after using tree-seater, it's going to parse me the data so that I can also skip the unnecessary files, and it would be easier for the to convert it to the vector database. And by doing so, I will improve um, the results I get by comparing the user's query to the vector data I stored in the vector database. So it will improve the performance. So that's how it works. I will parse those data. I will create embedding from those parsed data, and using those embeddings, the embedding is going to create for me a vector data, and I'm going to store those vector data into my Pinecone database. Then after storing that, whenever users send me a query, that query is going to be embedded, and using when it's embedded, it's going to be compared to a vector data, and I'm going to search through my vector database and find top similar searches, and I will take those informations as context, and I will concatenate the query and the context to my LLM. And by providing the user query and the context to my LLM, the LLM is going to give us an improved response, and it will reduce the hallucination. This is the project I have been working on, and let me show you. So here, my vector index is called AI coding agent. So my namespace is this, and I have stored 12 values like this. If we click each one, we can see this is categorized as method, and the source is like this, and the class name is this, the method is this, and it will the parts data is going to have such information that we will reduce all any unnecessary things using this. And that's all for this week's project. Thank you.